Bob, give me a team. We were talking about this at the top. That's not your problem. Give me a team. We were talking about this at the top of the program that stayed in, that perhaps should have been out. Like the Mets made a decision, we're out. Anybody else out there should have done that?
I don't know. I can't fault the Angels or the Padres for different reasons. We talked about this before. You have a once-in-a-lifetime, maybe once-in-forever player in Ohtani. Even 2 more months of that is something your fan base deserves. And obviously things have gone very much south for them, but they were still within hailing distance at the time of the deadline. And the Padres, with all that talent, we realize that the mix may not be perfect, and you hear rumblings coming out of their clubhouse. But with all that talent, and at that point, what were they? 3-4 out of the third wild card. Certainly they had a chance to make a move. So they went all in. They didn't sell, they added. And, you know, things have not turned out, at least to this point, as they would have hoped. But I can't think of anybody where it was an egregious mistake. I can think of several where it hasn't turned out to this point the way they wanted to.
You know, I agree with you, Bob. I think, politically, the Padres could not declare the Juan Soto era over or a failure. Politically, the Yankees would be hard-pressed to start selling when they were just getting, Rodon in and Judge back. But most teams, as I pointed out at the top, most teams by mid-August have shown who they are. Do you know other teams that maybe not? Like, have we seen enough, or do you think, no, there's going to be an unexpected run this year?
Well, the Padres have, not to be redundant, the Padres have the personnel to do it, both on the mound and in their lineup. There was a good point made, I guess Joel Sherman made it during one of the earlier segments. When you talk about teams that have made historic comebacks, they may have been deep in the hole in the standings in mid-August, but they were good teams to begin with.
Yeah.
So the Giants who overtook the Dodgers weren't like a 500 team. The Yankees who came back on the Red Sox in '78 were already a good team, and they were the defending world champions. Now, with 6 playoff spots and many divisions, sometimes teams can get fooled because of what the standings show, as opposed to a sober understanding of what their actual personnel indicates.
And you're right again, Bob. Joel did have a good segment. I'm thinking, Bob, the '78 Yankee comeback, it's the best I can think of. Do you have a better one?
Well, the classic one is 1951, not just because of the Dodgers giving up a 13.5-game lead to the Giants, but the way it ended.
But the way it, but also they had a little help, Bob. In retrospect, right? They had a little help. So if we're taking sign stealing seriously, which we are these days, right?
Yeah. Well, how about, although it's for a wild card berth, not for a pennant or division championship, how about the Mariners in 1995 catching the Angels, then winning that 1-game playoff? And a lot of people think that saved baseball in Seattle. They were playing at the Kingdome. And they were talking about moving, very seriously talking about moving. They couldn't get the approval from the city and state that they needed to build a new ballpark. And all of a sudden, all the excitement that surrounded that, and they went all the way to the ALCS before they lost to Cleveland, that might have saved baseball in Seattle. And I think they were 13 games back at one point.
Wow. Yeah, not as epic as Yankees, Red Sox, but significant. They beat the Yankees later in those playoffs. Bob, you're calling the Yankees Braves tonight. Where have these Yankees gone wrong?
I think it's, roster construction. I don't mean to be critical of Brian Cashman. Overall, his quarter-century tenure has been tremendously successful. But this team lacked left-handed punch in its lineup, even with Anthony Rizzo before the post-concussion syndrome. You take a look at this team, they have one guy, obviously it's a prominent guy, Aaron Judge, who could start for the Atlanta Braves. One guy. It's to take nothing away from the Billy McKinneys and the Jake Bauers of the world. These are replacement-level players. If the Yankees weren't the Yankees, if they were some generic team without the pinstripes and without the history, you'd say this is a mediocre team, apart from Garrett Cole and Aaron Judge and what until yesterday was an effective bullpen.
Yeah, and it's they're number 2 in payroll. Again, the Mets blew them out, but they're still number 2. You should get something for that money.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Braves. StatCast is powered by Google Cloud. The Braves offense, by most measures, Bob, I'm just looking at the numbers, about the best we've seen in the last generation. There's expected, you look at ex-WOBA. I think that's ex-WOBA is 364, best by any team since 2015 when they started measuring this. That's the quality of their contact. But their WOBA is also 360. They're slugging, if you want to use that, 500 as a team. Is this the best offense we've seen in a long time? Or, I don't know, can you put it up there with Big Red Machine or 98 Yankees? Where are they?
Well, they haven't done it for as long as, let's say, the Big Red Machine. And the core of that Yankee team is part of a team that won 4 world championships. So they don't have that going for them. But just looking at what's happened through what is now, 2/3 of a season, slugging .502 as a team, that would be a record. They have a chance to break the Twins record from 2019 when the ball was juiced of 307 team home runs. They've got a chance for that. They have 2 legitimate MVP candidates in Olsen and Acuna. They've outscored their opposition in the first inning by 70 runs, including yesterday when it didn't work out. They scored 3 runs in the first inning against the Mets, and the Mets came back and beat them. But generally speaking, they're jumping on people early. And you want to contrast? The Yankees' leadoff hitters have a combined on-base percentage of .299. So they're not doing anything at the beginning of the game, and the Braves are doing everything at the beginning of the game. Jake Bauers led off for the Yankees yesterday. This is little noted because of what happened in the 9th inning. Bauers was their leadoff guy. I think they've used like 19 different leadoff men during the course of the season or something like that. Bauers not only went 0 for 5 and failed to reach base, all 5 at-bats were strikeouts.
Oof. It's a rough starting point.
Oof is right.
Oof. I say oof. Bob, are you going to bring up ex-Woba on the telecast tonight to D-Row? Can you throw that his way?
You know, just as a shout out to you, I'm going to figure out a way to get it in there. If you promise you'll be watching. What inning would you like me to drop it?
First inning when they're scoring 4 runs. There'll be plenty of time. The Braves will just be batting, and I'll tune in early, and then I can go anywhere else. But I'll stay for early. How about that?
Yeah, but BK, you broadcast games. In the first inning, there's a lot of stuff you got to get in. Then things settle in by the 3rd or 4th.
Oh, please. Oh, please.
That's
You're
what
Bob
like
Costas. You tell the producers what you want to do. You're Bob Costas.
But I don't want to Bigfoot anybody, BK. Come on.
Well, people don't know. Okay, Bob. Again, great people. Great shot. It looks. This is the textbook right here. Well done on the Zoom. Good luck tonight. Have fun tonight calling the game, Bob. Thank you.
Thanks, BK. See ya.